Park is very popular from April to May, when visitors have a chance to see more than 400 species of colorful butterflies in the forest. That's why it has won the award of Asia's leading national park several times. Despite the government's effort to protect Kuk Form, several problems have been reported. Small parts of the park have been destroyed as people have cut down old trees without permission. In addition, rare animals were hunted illegally, some of which were fortunately rescued and returned to the forest. There are still irresponsible tourists who drop litter on the trails, which pollutes the water and soil. These actions can damage the ecosystem of the park. Therefore, tougher measures should be taken to protect the biodiversity of the area. The average life expectancy in Vietnam is 71 years for men and 76.4 years for women. Many people believe that women live longer because they have healthier habits than men. Women tend to drink less, smoke less, eat better, and take better care of their bodies. Life expectancy is influenced by other factors. People living in poor areas, for instance, often have no access to medical care or healthy food, and have less time to rest or exercise. This may reduce their life expectancy. According to research, people who go to university live 2 to 3 years longer than people who do not. Higher education levels often result in better socioeconomic conditions, so life expectancy can also be improved. Developments in medicine and medical technology have had a huge effect on life expectancy. As a result of them, people live longer and healthier lives, and have better treatment options. The way we live can affect life expectancy. Healthy habits, such as having a balanced diet, taking regular exercise, avoiding drinking alcohol and smoking, can help us live longer. Viruses cause many human diseases, ranging from the common cold and the flu to more serious ones such as AIDS and COVID-19. On their own, viruses are not alive. They become active when they infect or enter our bodies. They can do that easily because they are very small. Then, they start to act like living things and make copies of themselves. People have natural defenses against viruses. For example, a fever can make some viruses inactive. The body's immune system also fights viruses. Vaccines cannot treat diseases caused by viruses, but they can help prevent the spread of disease. Vaccines contain viruses which are weakened or dead, and help the body's immune system make substances called antibodies, which fight disease. If the same virus enters our body later on, the immune system will recognize it and will know how to fight it off. Giving people vaccines can save a lot of lives. For example, 2 million people died of smallpox in 1967. However, vaccines helped to stop this disease and made it disappear. Most recently, vaccines have played an important role in reducing deaths and severe illness caused by COVID-19 all over the world. Generation gap is a popular term used to describe the differences between generations. The young and the old do not understand each other well because of their different experiences, opinions, habits, and behavior. That is why parents often try to prevent their children from doing things that they believe would harm them. On the other hand, children do their best to prove that they are responsible and can take control of their own lives. Neither parents nor children are wrong. They are both right in their own way. Parents, blinded by their love for their children, would rather have their own experiences replace the experiences of their kids. In contrast, their children are completely sure that their decisions are right and are based on current situations that their parents may not be aware of. As time goes by, customs and traditions, which help shape the identity of an individual, change. That is why people belonging to different generations don't usually share the same values and beliefs. The difference in politics, culture, and other areas of life is what separates the generations and is often described as a generation gap. This can lead to frequent disagreements or even conflicts between the generations in a family. Therefore, bridging the generation gap is important. Below are some tips on how different generations in a family can connect. First, all generations should be open to new ideas. Having more life experiences, parents often think that they know what is best for their children. However, the world is changing all the time. So, parents should keep an open mind about new ideas or things that probably didn't even exist when they were growing up. For their part, children should also be willing to listen to their parents and try to learn important life lessons from them. Second, it is important for parents and children to make time for each other every day. Poor communication or lack of it can harm the relationship between family members. They should make an effort to listen to each other. For example, start by asking your parents about how they spend their day at work. Finding some enjoyable activities that you can all do together is the best way to strengthen family bonds. In conclusion, healthy family love can help bridge the generation gap. Parents and children love each other for who they are, no matter what they say, think, or do. Even if people might not approve of what other family members do or say, they are still family and always will be. More and more urban areas around the world are moving towards smart development. These smart cities will be the cities of the future. They will use modern technologies to improve their infrastructure and services. Infrastructure will become more sustainable and eco-friendly. This will be achieved by reducing the use of natural resources and the amount of waste. In addition, city dwellers will have access to a transport system that combines different modes of transport such as buses, underground and overground trains, and is efficient and easy to use. Smart cities will also have larger pedestrian zones and more cycle paths. Poor areas will be rebuilt to make all neighborhoods safer and cleaner. This will provide better living spaces for the growing population and improve people's standard of living. Most services will be offered online, and will be convenient for everybody to use. People will also be able to give and receive feedback, monitor programs and activities with the help of virtual tour work sites. In addition, many health and education services will be offered online, ensuring pleasant experience for residents. For example, people will be able to book an appointment to see a doctor online. They will also receive prescriptions and all the necessary documents at home. Improved infrastructure and efficient services will make the cities of the future more livable and will provide a better quality of life to city dwellers. Roof gardens, or gardens built on the top of city buildings, have become very popular in recent years, particularly in developed cities. It is even predicted that they will be the future of city architecture. This is because lack of space and overpriced land in cities makes it difficult to increase the number of parks and other green areas. So, what makes these green roofs so attractive to city dwellers? Roof gardens can improve air quality in cities. Plants take in and keep heat and light, and help to cool the environment around them. This way, green roofs help reduce greenhouse gas emissions related to heating and cooling buildings. They also help decrease dust pollution and the formation of smog, a mixture of smoke and fog, which is common in big cities. Moreover, green roofs can provide new habitats for wildlife. They can help reduce the impact of urban development on habitat loss. For example, the City Hall in Chicago, the USA, has become home to more than 20,000 plants of over 150 different kinds. The living roof of Vancouver Convention Centre in Canada hosts 400,000 plants and 60,000 bees. Roof gardens also attract birds and insects, which increases the biodiversity in the area. In summary, roof gardens can reduce pollution and improve human interaction with nature by introducing green space into the built environment. Connecting with nature is beneficial to our physical and mental health, and can increase quality of life. The generation gap can create many negative consequences. Older generations often experience stress and anxiety as they fail to understand younger ones. Old people also feel no longer needed or wanted, and less confident in their abilities to use technology. Younger generations, on the other hand, don't feel very connected with the traditional culture and values of their parents and grandparents. They want to make their own decisions and create their own future without following in their parents' footsteps. They also highly value the relationship with their peers, and peer groups play an important role in their life. They feel bad when they disappoint their parents. We all know the importance of exercise as a healthy habit. But what's the best time to exercise? Research has shown that morning, afternoon, or evening workouts have their own benefits. When you work out in the morning, you burn more fat. In fact, those who start their exercise routine on an empty stomach can burn about 20% more body fat than those exercising later in the day. Morning exercise also helps many people sleep better at night. Afternoon or evening workouts can also bring benefits. Remember that your temperature is the highest between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. This temperature helps increase your muscle strength and endurance. In the afternoon or evening, your reaction time is at its quickest, while your heart rate and blood pressure are the lowest. Exercising at this time decreases your chances of injury while improving your performance. So, depending on your schedule and preferences, you can choose the best time to work out. Puppetry is an old art form in Southeast Asia, which is not just for children, but for audiences of all ages. Puppets in the region vary in size and style, and their colorful designs are often crafted by the artists themselves. Puppet performances are also influenced by different traditions, styles, and skills. For example, performances in Malaysia and Thailand start with a battle, while in Indonesia speech is very important. However, these differences didn't stop puppetry artists from ASEAN countries to get together and begin the ASEAN Puppets Exchange Program in 2014. Despite the different cultures and languages, the program has managed to develop a united yet diverse community of ASEAN artists. Since 2014, there have been many workshops presenting local puppet traditions. In addition, professional artists from one country have the opportunity to visit and coach community artists from another country, or work with other professional artists to create joint performances. They all come together because of their love of puppetry and telling stories through puppets. Their live puppet shows continue to entertain, educate, and bond people in ASEAN. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, was created on the 8th of August 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand, by the foreign ministers of Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. Brunei became a member in 1984, Vietnam in 1995, Laos and Myanmar in 1997, and Cambodia in 1999. With nearly 700 million inhabitants, ASEAN is one of the most culturally diverse regions in the world. ASEAN is home to hundreds of different ethnic groups and a region of linguistic diversity where thousands of languages are spoken. The ASEAN has about 31 urban areas with populations of over 1 million. Jakarta is the largest urban area, followed by Manila, Bangkok, and Ho Chi Minh City. The main purpose of ASEAN is to promote the economic growth, social progress, and cultural development of its member countries. ASEAN also aims to maintain peace in Southeast Asia and establish friendly relationships with other countries or regional and international organizations with similar aims. ASEAN has contributed to building long-term peace, security, and prosperity in the region. It has brought all countries in Southeast Asia together and helped reduce poverty in rural areas. ASEAN is already the world's fifth largest economy with the third largest labor force, and is expected to become the fourth largest economic market by 2030. However, there are still some challenges the 10-nation organization has to deal with to continue the success story. There are more than 1 billion cows in the world, and cow farming is a large source of methane emissions. This colorless and odorless gas is much more powerful than coal at warming the earth. Farmers and companies are developing solutions for decreasing cows' methane emissions. In Canada and Brazil, farmers started adding a special ingredient to their animals' feed to reduce cows' methane production. In New Zealand, scientists are working on a vaccine that can cut methane emissions. Rather than stopping methane emissions, the UK company has designed face masks to catch the gas before it is released. The masks will allow cows to continue their normal diet, but will turn methane into CO and water. They can fit comfortably on the cow's head and can be adjusted to different head sizes. Sensors on the masks can notice when methane comes out of the cow's mouth and provide the percentage of the gas. This information can also be useful for farmers who can use it to identify the early signs of disease. For example, if a cow eats less, but produces more methane than usual, it may have a health problem. It is predicted that the need for beef and dairy products will go up in the coming years. The company developing the methane-catching masks hopes that farmers will start using their invention, which will slow down global warming. Most of our energy comes from fossil fuels. Burning them increases the amount of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere. If we continue to use fossil fuels the way we do now, we will soon run out of them. Fortunately, we no longer have to depend only on fossil fuels like oil, coal, and natural gas. We can use renewable energy from sources such as wind, rain, waves, and sunlight, which can be replaced naturally. In addition, such energy has a low environmental impact. Renewable energy used to be very expensive. In recent years, however, it has become cheaper and easier to produce thanks to technological advances. Wind energy is one of the cleanest and most sustainable type of energy. It does not release carbon emissions and is entirely renewable as there will always be wind. Solar power is the most common source of renewable energy. It exists in large quantities and is freely available. It is also completely renewable as the sun will keep on shining. Hydropower, a form of renewable energy that uses the force of fast-moving water to produce electricity, is even more reliable than solar or wind power. There are other types of renewable energy available. In the future, we will need to use more renewable energy sources to meet our energy needs and reduce the negative impact of global warming. The ASEAN School Games, ASG, is an annual sports event for schools in ASEAN. It is organized with the support of the ASEAN Schools Sports Council, ASSC, a regional organization that promotes sports among member countries. Before 2009, the games were played as a series of single sports events in the region. This was changed in 2009 when a new games format was introduced. The first ASG, planned under the new games format, took place in Thailand. The event attracts thousands of secondary school student athletes and other representatives from ASEAN countries. So far, 20 sports have been held in the ASG, including athletics, swimming, badminton, volleyball, sepak takraw, table tennis, and basketball. The ASG provides opportunities for school athletes to show their sporting talents and interact with their peers. The event is also a great way to promote friendship and cultural exchange among students in the Southeast Asian region. Climate change has affected wild animals and plants all over the world, but some species are more endangered than others. Polar animals, whose icy habitat is melting in the warmer temperatures, are particularly at risk. In fact, studies show that the Arctic sea ice is melting faster than ever. Polar bears and seals need sea ice as places to raise their young, feed, or rest. Rising sea levels threaten the habitats of sea turtles, which depend on beaches to lay their eggs. Many people may not know that the temperature of nests determines whether the eggs are male or female. Unfortunately, rising temperatures mean that most turtles will be born females, and this may lead to population decline. Climate change does not only have an impact on wildlife, it's affecting us, too. Farmers, especially in developing countries, are the most affected. They are dealing with higher temperatures, heavier rainfall, floods, and droughts. Environmental conditions can also affect plant growth and crop quality. For example, in Kenya, because of climate change, rainfall is becoming heavier and less predictable. Droughts are often followed by large amounts of rain, which makes growing tea, Kenya's most important crop, very difficult. Hoi, an ancient town, is located in Vietnam's central Quang Nam province on the banks of the Thu Bon River. In 1999, the old town was recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. As a well-preserved example of a Southeast Asian trading port dating from the 15th to 19th century, its architecture is a mixture of local and foreign styles. The town consists of a well-preserved complex of thousands of timber frame buildings, with brick or wooden walls, including an open market, pagodas, temples, and other structures. The houses are arranged side by side in tight, unbroken rows along narrow pedestrian streets. The original street plan has also stayed the same. One of the most famous attractions is the Japanese bridge pagoda, called pagoda, which was built over a small canal flowing out into the Thu Bon River. It's part of a 420-year-old bridge, painted in beautiful red and pink colors, with a wooden pagoda roof. The bridge has a fascinating history dating back to the 17th century. Restored several times, this important monument is well preserved and has become the symbol of Hoi An and the highlight of any walking tour in the old town. Lam completed secondary education when his parents were over 55. They were both farmers with a very low income. He had good grades, but he knew that it would be very difficult for his parents to cover his university costs. Lam talked to his teachers about his future plans and asked them for advice. He also attended several education fairs for school leavers and met representatives from different educational institutions. He realized that vocational training could help him get a job faster because most vocational school courses are much shorter than those at traditional universities. He also found out that the factory in the nearest town was in need of mechanics. The factory also closely worked with a local vocational school that provides different training courses. So Lam decided to attend a one-year course in machinery mechanics. After finishing the course, Lam was immediately offered a job in the factory. He still thinks that vocational training was the right choice for him. Now he can even give his parents a portion of his salary as a way of showing respect and gratitude to them for raising him. We spoke with Maha, an award-winning teacher, who grew up in a poor mountainous area. It's amazing what she's achieved and how much she's contributed to her community. Hi Maha. Tell us about your education. My parents always supported my studies, and I left school with high grades. Several top universities offered me a place, but I wanted to become a teacher of English, so I chose the University of Languages and International Studies. I joined the University English Language Club, practicing my English with native speakers and taking part in cultural exchanges. I also worked as a teaching assistant, which helped me improve my teaching skills. So after graduation, I got several job offers in Hanoi. But you returned to your hometown. Why? I think my old school needed me more than some big school in the city. English gave me lots of opportunities, and I wanted other young people in my town to learn the language and connect to the world. You're also involved in other initiatives. Can you tell us about them? I became a member of several international teaching communities, and learned a lot from experts and other English teachers. So I introduced an online platform to students at my school. They use it to communicate in English with teenagers from around the world. Our school even teamed up with a school in Manchester, and students from both schools worked on several projects together. You've just won the Teacher of the Year award. Congratulations! How do you feel about it? Thank you. I'm very proud of winning the award, but I'm proud of my students, who work very hard to achieve their goals and learn new things. There is nothing more inspiring than seeing my students start to believe in themselves. You probably get some pocket money from your parents by doing nothing. But you can tell them that you'll be happy to earn the money by doing chores for them. It's also good to work for someone else, such as a neighbor or grandparent, to earn more money. Doing a part-time job at a family-run cafe is not a bad idea. Once you have earned some money, think about having a bank account. Generally, teenagers can't open bank accounts by themselves, so their parents will need to help. By having them as co-owners, you'll learn valuable lessons from your parents about how to keep track of spending and balance your account. While earning money is difficult, spending it is very easy. As a teenager, you should learn how to manage your money carefully so that you can become a responsible and independent adult. Always plan what to buy and how much you can afford to spend on it. For example, if you buy something for yourself or a family member, think about its price and where to buy it. Don't spend more than you earn. People often say, a penny saved is a penny earned, meaning that it's important to save the money you already have. You can use your savings for bigger things, such as school trips or university fees. Once you start earning a salary, follow the 50-30-20 rule, 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. To become independent, teens need to learn about financial responsibility. Managing a bank account provides first-hand experience and valuable lessons about saving and spending money. First, do some research on banks in your area and choose one. Go to its website to find out the different types of bank accounts and what you can use them for. Get some advice from your parents as well. Then call the bank to make an appointment during office hours and go there to discuss your bank account and fill in an application form. You will also need proof of your identity and some money to put in your new account. If you're under 18, you may also consider having a joint account with a parent. This way, your parents will be kept informed about any activity in the bank account. A bank account can teach you how to save and spend money. You'll learn the value of money and get into the habit of saving money. Try to regularly put pocket money, cash gifts received for birthdays, or any earnings from part-time jobs into your account, and watch your savings grow. Experts say having a bank account is a great way to learn about banking services and apps and to boost your financial abilities. Building your money knowledge, skills, and habits can prepare you for independent living. A vocational school offers post-secondary training for a specific job, often in healthcare, technical, or other hands-on areas. Vocational schools are different from typical 3- or 4-year universities because their courses are less academic and more practical. Their goal is to provide students with the skills they need to work in a specific trade. Each vocational course is different since every job requires different skills. For example, a graphic designer will learn very different things from a fashion designer. Vocational training is very important for career development. Its advantage over other types of colleges is that its duration is usually shorter. As training is highly focused and specific, some vocational courses can be completed in under a year or even in several months. In addition, vocational training is not only cheaper than university education, but graduates can also start earning a salary in their chosen job or trade immediately. In some, vocational schools offer career training opportunities so that people can be competitive in the job market and start doing what they love sooner. Getting into university is an important event for young people. While most students are excited about it, they should also be aware of the difference between university and school. At school, most of your learning is done in the classroom. Teachers give you regular assignments and provide support and resources to help you complete them. Meanwhile, most of your learning at university involves self-studying and project work that you need to plan and complete by a certain date. It is your responsibility to review lecture notes, read textbooks, and do research to find information in the library or online. Your relationships at school are often limited to schoolmates or classmates. You interact with them mostly in a school environment, therefore, your group of friends is small and very familiar. By contrast, at university, you not only have more contacts, but you also meet people from different backgrounds. Therefore, you need better social skills to deal with any conflict you may come into when interacting with other people. As a secondary school student, you also live with your parents who provide you with the daily care and support you need. You don't have to worry about things such as shopping or cooking for yourself. You have your parents take care of your physical and mental well-being. Once you go to university, you will probably move away from home and start to live independently. You need to improve your life skills so that you can manage your own life. Being a teenager is not easy. According to a recent survey, the most common issues facing teenagers today include the following. Many parents think that social media is largely to blame, as this is where teens often see images of famous or normal people drinking or smoking. This behavior is often presented as cool and fashionable. In the USA, more than 1 out of 5 secondary school students admitted having drunk alcohol regularly. While schools are supposed to provide a safe and healthy environment, they might actually be among the most dangerous places for many students. It is not uncommon for teenagers to experience bullying or physical violence at school. Often, victims suffer in silence as they feel reporting a bully won't make a difference. Academic pressure and family expectations are the main reasons for this issue. Many young people nowadays spend a lot of time studying, doing homework, or revising for tests. In Korea, for example, students often spend between 12 to 16 hours per day at school and at an educational center, and sleep only 4 hours per night. The figures for the USA and the UK are alarming. Many young people spend their free time on social media and don't get enough exercise to maintain a healthy weight. Stress can also lead to weight gain, as it encourages people to turn to food for comfort and stress relief. It is hard to imagine a Gen Z teenager growing up without smartphones and social media. However, while these sites provide entertainment and ways to connect with people, they can also harm young people. One of the risks is cyberbullying, especially body shaming. Social media users often hide their identities online, so it is easier for them to post offensive comments or images. Social media can also make teens feel less confident. As images of paper-thin models and glamorous influencers with expensive cars and clothes are everywhere, teenagers start thinking that being slim and rich is the only way to be accepted in society and become successful. In addition, there is a risk that they meet bad people online, as well as come across harmful content. Parents can't ban teenagers from social networks because it is actually impossible to do so. Instead, young people should learn how to stay safe online. Parents and teachers play an essential role here, as knowing how their children and students use the internet is essential for protecting them online. With a coastline of over 3,260 kilometers, Vietnam is home to many different kinds of flora and fauna. From the Phan Peak all the way down to the Mekong Delta, the country has a rich diversity of wildlife. However, due to population growth and rapid urban development, many of Vietnam's plant and animal species are endangered. Natural habitats are threatened by deforestation and the overuse of natural resources. Several unique species have almost disappeared in recent years because of the illegal wildlife trade. The trade in animal parts continues to be a serious problem despite the heavy punishment. There is still high demand for elephant ivory, rhino horn, turtle eggs, and other wild animal parts. This has forced a number of mammals and other creatures onto the red list of threatened species. In 2010, Vietnam's last Doven rhino was shot and killed for its horn. Nevertheless, there are still many other native species found in the country's dense forests. Scientists continue to discover unique and rare animals such as the saola and the pangolin. However, if the country wants to conserve its biodiversity and fascinating features, it still has a long way to go. Each living thing can be a part of different food chains. Living things can be producers or consumers. Producers make their own food. For example, many plants are in the producers group as they use energy from the sun, water, and nutrients from the soil. Consumers, on the other hand, don't make their own food. Some eat producers or other consumers, such as animals, while others eat both. For example, farm animals like cows, chickens, and pigs eat corn, grass, and hay because they cannot make food for themselves like many plants do. A food chain is the sequence of who eat whom in an ecosystem. For instance, the sun makes energy for the grass, which gets eaten by a zebra, which gets eaten by a lion. Or, the grass gets eaten by a cricket, which gets eaten by a snake, which gets eaten by an owl. These are all examples of food chains. Food chains show how all living things depend on each other. For example, we as consumers drink fruit juice made from a plant or producer. We also consume dairy products such as milk and cheese, which come from other consumers like cows and sheep. So producers and consumers are interdependent. There are many food chains in the various habitats on Earth. Animals that eat other animals are called predators, and the animals they eat are called prey. Consumers are divided into 3 categories: herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. A herbivore only eats plants, an omnivore eats plants and meat, and a carnivore only eats meat. Overpopulation happens when there are too many people living in a place, such as a country or a city. There are various causes of population growth, including better medical care, improved access to food, and immigration for better employment opportunities. The global population has increased 4 times in the last 100 years despite natural disasters and wars. As it continues to grow, our ecosystems may become unsuitable for some species. Natural resources may not be available, the environment may be damaged, and people may have to deal with unemployment or poverty. To address these issues, some countries have taken measures, such as better family planning, one-child policies, or lower taxes for married couples with 1 or 2 children. However, none of these measures are as important as education, especially education of girls. Instead of leaving school early to get married and start a family, they should be encouraged to continue their education and make informed decisions to plan their families. An ecosystem is an area where living things, such as plants and animals, as well as non-living things, like weather and landscapes, work together to provide suitable living conditions. As living and non-living things depend on one another, any change to a member of the ecosystem may lead to changes to other elements. This also means that damage to one part of the ecosystem will lead to serious consequences for other parts. While large national parks or nature reserves often come to mind when people think of an ecosystem, and even ecosystems, could be found in very smaller areas, such as a garden or a pond. In a pond, for instance, animals such as frogs and fish live together with water plants, and depend on each other as well as on the water, humidity, and temperature to survive and grow. Large areas where different ecosystems can be found are called biomes. Examples of biomes include oceans, rainforests, and deserts. Since our appearance on Earth, we have interacted with as well as depended on different ecosystems. However, we have also taken over many ecosystems and destroyed many of them. For example, many of the Amazon rainforests have been cut down, leading to loss of balance in the ecosystem. As we are part of the ecosystem, we also suffer from the damage we are causing to it.